When you stop and think about it, it's gotta be one of the most extraordinary transformations in all of nature. It's a process so complex, so perfectly orchestrated, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. Okay, let's dive into this incredible 40-week journey of development. So that's the big question, right? How in the world does a single microscopic cell become a fully formed, breathing, unique human being? That is the incredible story we're going to unpack right now, week by fascinating week. All right, every great story has to start somewhere. And this one, well, it starts with a single crucial moment, the spark of life. We're going right back to the very beginning, to the journey from conception all the way to implantation. So, this first week, it's all about movement and constant change. It all starts with fertilization, way up in the fallopian tube. But that new cell, it doesn't just stay put. Oh no, it goes on a journey, and as it travels, it divides and divides and divides again. It's transforming at an incredible rate. By the time it finally reaches the uterus, it's no longer a single cell. It's a complex little bundle called a blastocyst, ready to attach and really kick things off. Okay, so you'll hear these two words a lot, zygote and blastocyst. Let's just quickly break them down. The zygote, that's the very first cell, the immediate result of fertilization. But as it starts dividing and growing, it becomes what's known as a blastocyst. And what's amazing is that this tiny structure already has a plan. Part of it is destined to become the embryo itself, while the other part will form the placenta, the baby's personal life support system for the next 9 months. Okay, now we're heading into the first trimester. And folks, this is where the real heavy lifting happens. This is, without a doubt, the most critical construction phase of the entire pregnancy. In just these first 12 weeks, the fundamental blueprint of a human being is laid down. It is a period of absolutely mind-blowing creation. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, by the end of week 4, after all that traveling, dividing, and implanting, the entire structure is only about the size of a poppy seed. A poppy seed! All this incredible complex work is happening on a scale that's almost invisible. And from there, things just take off at lightning speed. By week 5, the foundation of the entire nervous system, the brain and spinal cord, is forming, and a tiny heart actually begins to pulse. Just 1 week later, you can see little buds that are going to be arms and legs. Before you even hit the 2-month mark, every single major organ is taking shape, and by week 10, you have fully formed fingers and toes. It's an absolute whirlwind of creation. So remember that poppy seed? Well, after all that incredible work, just a few weeks later at week 8, we're at the size of a black bean. The growth is just exponential, and it's at this point that we officially go from calling it an embryo to a fetus. And by the time we hit the end of this super critical first trimester, we're talking about the size of a plum. Think about that. All the essential parts are now in place. From here on out, it's all about growth and refinement. There's a reason everyone talks about hitting that 12-week mark. It's a huge milestone. And as the Cleveland Clinic points out, it's because all that foundational, high-stakes construction work is basically done. The most fragile part of the journey is over, which means the pregnancy is now considered much, much more stable. All right, let's dive into the second trimester. You'll often hear this called the golden period of pregnancy. The frantic, foundational building phase is over. Now it's about growth, fine-tuning, and the fetus actually starting to become aware of and interact with its tiny little world. Now this is just amazing. By only 16 weeks, the ears are developed enough to actually hear. The fetus is now living in a world of sound, the steady rhythm of a heartbeat, and yes, the muffled sound of voices from the outside world. It can actually recognize them. And it's not just hearing. A whole world of new abilities starts to show up. We see these distinctly human-like behaviors, sucking a thumb for comfort, yawning, stretching, even making facial expressions. This is also when those first little flutters of movement, what they call quickening, can start to be felt. And get this, the fetus now has its own one-of-a-kind set of fingerprints. And of course, the growth just keeps on coming. By the end of month 4, right around week 16, the fetus has grown to be about the size of an avocado. That's around 5 inches long, weighing about 4 ounces. Okay, now for a couple of really fascinating, kind of weird features you see around this time. The skin gets covered in this waxy, cheesy-looking coating called vernix, which is basically a waterproof layer to protect it. And for warmth, it's covered in a superfine downy hair called lanugo. You can think of it as nature's built-in wetsuit and fuzzy sweater, both of which disappear right before birth.
And here we are, the home stretch, the third trimester. The whole game now shifts to rapid growth and getting everything ready for life on the outside. It's all about packing on weight and putting the absolute final touches on critical organs, especially the brain and the lungs.
The weight gain here is just staggering. Get this, about half of a baby's total birth weight is packed on in just the last 2.5 months. And this isn't just about getting bigger. It's a crucial process of adding layers of fat that will be vital for insulation and energy after birth.
Now, this right here might be one of the most important things to understand about modern pregnancy. It really shows us why a full-term pregnancy is so important. Just look at this comparison. At 35 weeks, the brain is still a major work in progress. It only weighs about 2/3 of what it will at birth. Those last few weeks aren't just waiting time. They are for essential, high-level brain development.
So, here it is, the final countdown. At week 37, it's officially considered full term, but the job's not quite done. It's still gaining around half a pound a week as the brain and lungs get their final critical upgrades. And then, around week 40, after this incredible 9-month marathon, everything is finally ready to go.
Okay, let's just pause for a second and look back at this whole thing. It is a journey of such breathtaking complexity from that one single moment all the way to the brink of birth. I mean, when you really step back and think about it, it's all right there. It goes from a single cell which contains the entire genetic blueprint, and that cell orchestrates its own transformation into a person with trillions of cells, with organs, senses, and even the start of a personality. It is just a truly remarkable 40-week journey.
So, the 40-week construction project is done. The blueprint for a human life, it's been followed to perfection. But of course, that's not the end, is it? It's just the beginning of a whole new journey. So the question we'll leave you with is this: what comes next?